Finance fam, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to answer the question, are Americans broke or not? What is the deal with the financials of Americans today? This video is being sparked from a comment that I got on one of my YouTube Shorts videos. It was a YouTube short explaining the hidden powers of retirement accounts. Basically, a lot of people don't realize that there are many benefits to having a retirement account, like tax deferred or tax advantage growth, asset protection, diversification. There are reasons to own a retirement account, and it's not all bad like some people say. So that's what this video was basically explaining. And I got this comment, and the comment was, LMAO, who has the excess cash in this economy to be investing? And I think that this got me thinking about it more. And I was like, let me dive into some data to try to find the answer to this question. Do Americans are they better off today? How is net worth growing? How are assets growing? For the bottom wealth percentiles, the bottom income earners, not the top, not the top 10%, not even the top 40%. I'm talking about the bottom 40% of wealth quintiles and income earners. So we're going to dive into that data very shortly. But this comment alone actually ended up sparking a little debate within it that I thought had some interesting points that I think are worth going over. So basically, the reply was people who are financially smart with their money and they don't buy things that they don't need are the ones that are doing the investing in this economy. Those who don't have debt and can invest their money in a 401k or IRA. And that's true, right? Of course, duh. Like people that are financially responsible, they're not buying things they don't need, and they probably have more income or more cash flow to be able to do so, right? Not everybody has cash flow. She replied with, my retirement plan is to die victoriously in the Battle of the Colorado River in the 2030 water wars. So, I take this as a smart aleck response, throwing your hands up. I'm never going to retire. And here on this channel, we try to give you guys a little bit of education and knowledge so that you can not do this and have a retirement plan and be able to live a good life. So that's my goal here. But then this reply came in and it said, people that spend on restaurant meals, yearly mobile phone upgrades, meaning upgrading your Apple device every year, streaming services, Uber Eats and DoorDash, people that have big expensive SUVs or expensive car payments, and, these are the same people that complain about not having enough money to invest in this or any other economy. Now, I want to touch on that. I do see a lot of financials as a financial planner from very low income. I do a lot of pro bono work with low income individuals, and I've seen people that make millions of dollars as well. And the people that do not make a lot of money do tend to spend on things that they really don't need to be spending on. Uber Eats is a big one. Uber Eats, DoorDash. We can even tell by those actual earnings reports, which we get earnings reports every single quarter from these companies. So we know how much in demand these delivery services are. And they're in very high demand. There's very good growth going on with those services. Are they essential services? For most people, probably not. It's more of a convenience thing, but people do it and they spend the money on it. And I do see people with lower incomes having high car payments and spending too much money on delivery services. Those are like the two big ones that I see a lot. So there is something to be said about that. But nonetheless, let's dive into the data and actually answer this question on, are Americans really broke or not? So this is the Federal Reserve's website, and they have the biggest data set around, consumer banking, consumer investments. They have all of that data compiled on their website in these beautiful charts. So we're going to go through some of this data and answer the question on how Americans are really doing going forward. So as far as assets, assets that have been built or acquired over time, what you can do, this is pretty cool. You can see the different wealth percentiles. So, the very, very wealthy are going to be the top 1%, or even the top 10%, right? So what we can do is remove that and just see the bottom 50% wealth percentile. So you can see that the bottom 50%, their wealth has been growing. Now, what has caused most of this wealth to grow is going to be real estate, because most people in the bottom wealth percentiles own most of their wealth in real estate. So far, it looks like things look pretty good on assets. Now let's break this down by income percentiles. So how much income someone has. But the other one was how much wealth they have. But what about income, right? So what we did was just clicked the 0 to 20% income percentile, and then the 20 to 40%, which is going to be yellow. The 0 to 20 is going to be red. This is going to be your lowest income percentile here in red. We can see that the assets over time here have continued to grow with these lower income percentiles as well. But really, where the rubber meets the road is net worth. Net worth is what matters most, because it's your assets minus your liabilities. So if you have a home, you take the value of your home, you subtract out your mortgage that you owe on it, and that's going to give you, a net worth. Let's say the home was the only asset you owned. That would give you your net worth, right? So net worth is a very important number. We need to be tracking it over time, especially at least once a year, just to have a nice log of how we're doing. So the 2008 financial crisis really threw a wrench in a lot of people's ability to have positive net worth. And so you can see that in 2007, this is when things started to really go downhill. For all, if you look at everybody, everybody pretty much had a dip except for the super, super wealthy people, the top 1%. Everybody else had a really hard time and had a dip in their net worth lower from 2007 to basically 2010. So going back to the lower, income percentiles, we can see that we've been recovering. We did have a pretty gnarly drawdown in net worth from the 2008 financial crisis. But what we've seen since then is we've seen net worth recover pretty nicely, right? Things look a little sharper of an increase for people that made a little bit more money than the bottom 20%. But even the bottom 20%, they're seeing their net worth go up. And again, that could very well be attributed to owning real estate. But this is a good thing. It's a good thing that we have seen net worth going up since 2013 for the lower income percentiles. It's a good thing that we're seeing assets continue to grow for them as well. And this is some data that I just thought was interesting to point out in terms of how many Americans own retirement accounts now. And you can see that that has been increasing since 2013 as well. In fact, the bottom 20 percentile of income has actually seen a steep increase in retirement account ownership. And to confirm this data, basically, the Wall Street Journal came out with this article: more Americans than ever own stocks. And we're basically looking at almost 60% of US households owning stocks now. So that does track with the data from the Fed that is showing that we're seeing an increase in assets, we're seeing an increase in net worth, and we are seeing an increase in retirement accounts. And not just for the super wealthy. We're talking about across wealth percentiles and income percentiles. Now, what we need to be watching very closely, what could unravel a lot of things for people, especially the lower wealth percentiles that own most of their net worth through their home. Well, we need to watch the consumer debt service payments as a percentage of disposable income. So basically what this is saying is not taking into account your mortgage, but think about consumer debt, like your credit card debt, any personal loans, things like that. What are those payments as a percentage of your disposable income after you pay for all of your life expenses? Well, that has recovered to pre-pandemic levels. It's actually, to be honest, slightly lower than before the pandemic kind of hit the markets and hit everyone's financials. But we've basically normalized back to those pre-pandemic levels on this number. And it's a lot lower than it has been historically. It's also been a lot lower, but we want to see this stay steady. We do not want to see this number go way higher. That would be pretty bad, right? That means that people might start having to eat into their assets. Or that just means that people that don't have assets are going to be even more in trouble. And so we have to keep an eye on that number. The other interesting piece of data that I found was from Bank of America. They just recently reported earnings, and they give us this nice bar chart showing consumer banking balance or deposit trends over time. And they give us the 2019, basically pre-pandemic numbers, so that we have a good comparison to see how the consumer really is doing versus pre-pandemic. And sure enough, these checking and savings balances have been declining, but they're way higher than pre-pandemic levels. Still, of course, that's only one bank, but it's one of the biggest banks in America. The one thing about our economy and our financial system is there have always been people that have been able to save money and invest and do the right things with their cash. And there have been people that just haven't been able to get ahead. And there are a lot of variables that can affect that. And when we're talking through this data, it's good that it breaks it down by wealth percent and income percentile to give us some more insights to zone in a little bit more. And when you do that, it doesn't look as bad and as dire as people make it sound. So it sounds like more Americans than ever are owning stocks. More Americans than ever are growing their net worth. They're building their asset base. And that is a good thing. I would hope that the internet and people having more access to get financial help and financial education is a good thing for Americans, and it's going to lead to just more prosperity going forward as people learn, oh, I need to lower high interest debt because it's compounding against me, and I need to invest so that it compounds for me. Sometimes it's as simple as somebody learning that concept, and then that makes them want to save more money or really watch their spending so that they can funnel as much money as they can into investing. So I think that education is a big part of it. That's why I do what I do here on She Talks Finance. And if you're here watching this, you're probably somebody that's going to be more on the right track with their money, or at least be able to create change in your financial life by learning more about it. All right, finance fam, I hope you found that helpful or insightful. If you want to see more videos like this, please comment below. Let me know what you liked about it and what you want to see me do more of. Check out the description below for all of my free resources and premium resources, and I'll see you next time.